When we started writing our thoughts down on paper, it opened up endless possibilities. Ideas could grow beyond the borders of the mind, and it changed the world. Somewhere along the way, we lost touch with paper, distracted by devices made for every purpose except for thinking and focus. On edge, waiting for the next notification. But what if new technology didn't pull us away from paper, but brought us closer to it? Listen. That's not paper. It's the sound of the new Remarkable Paper Pro, rewriting the future. A paper tablet with a true color ink display, gentle reading light, and unheard of tactility. With digital features for taking notes, thinking, and organizing, without any distractions. Paper is about to change the world again. Get your paper tablet at remarkable.com today.
Hey guys, it's Elena.
And it's Candace.
And you're listening to Cousins on Crime.
Back and as boring as ever.
Boring.
Sorry, someone called us boring and I was like, all right. It doesn't hurt my feelings.
It was actually pretty funny.
It doesn't hurt my feelings. I'm over it.
Are you?
As of this moment, I'm over it.
Okay.
Anyways, so Lena is all tan.
Mm-hmm.
Am I tan?
Your arms,
I've been out in the
yeah.
sun. We're just a couple of tannies. Yeah, so how was your trip to Florida?
The beach was amazing.
Was it white sand?
White sand.
Oh,
clear
water.
blue, turquoisey water.
What did it feel like? Was the sand warm, like when you sunk your
fingers
into it?
Warm sand, warm water.
Oh.
Like it was cool and just it cooled you off with the sun beating down. Yeah, no, it was great.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
I would lay there on my beach blanket and then, roll over like a rotisserie chicken. And then I'd go cool off in the water and then I'd come back and lay there. Yeah. So over and over again.
I was thinking of you when I was out hoofing it on the land. I was like, Lena's just laid up on a beach somewhere.
I know. We need to do that together.
Yes, we should.
Mm-hmm.
We should. And meanwhile, you be over there, be brown, and I'm over here scratching all of my bug bites.
Oh no.
I know.
You need that.
I took precaution.
7-Dust.
Oh my gosh. What is that?
7-Dust. It's like this powder that you put on your shoes in the bottom of your pant leg.
Oh yeah. I mean, if
you're wearing pants.
I sprayed myself. I put mosquito bracelets on, but
Are you prone to mosquito bites?
I'm not like prone.
Mm-hmm.
I must be tasty because I have them all over my torso.
Oh,
but I was like in the trees.
Yeah.
I was in a tree, climbing a tree, and I was clearing brush and stuff. Mm-hmm. So maybe they're chigger bites.
Oh no, those are the worst.
I know. But honestly, I've been like itching everywhere.
You need some calamine lotion.
Oh, it's miserable. I'd rather be in pain than itching.
Like sciatica?
No, not that kind of pain, but oh Lord. Well, I'm glad you're back.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's fair when you go off without me. I think it's rude.
Well, you know what? We're not going to talk about Vegas then.
Oh, you got me there.
An eye for an eye.
You got me there.
We're going to get into the story.
Let's do it.
Just be quiet, okay?
Okay. Zip.
Stop being so boring. Zip. Okay, today we are talking about Jason Corbett.
Oh my God. I'm so excited.
Are you really?
I just watched this documentary.
Did you?
Yes.
So did I. Okay.
Get into it. I'm excited.
Okay. So Jason was born February 12th of 1976 in Limerick, Ireland. Ireland. Yeah, you say it better than I do. Thank you. He had 7 siblings, and you can imagine how tough it was to take care of all of these kids in this large family.
Oh, yeah. And over there, I mean, the houses are just not
Small.
built for 7 children.
Yeah. But Jason, he was a natural provider even as a young man. At one time, his dad lost his job and Jason started working to help his parents. That just was the kind of guy he was, a very helpful person. And so he was very close with his family. He was always smiling and friends with everybody. And he was charismatic and loud. They say you knew when he walked in the room. But he went on to marry Margaret, who they called Mags. They started their little family and had a son, Jack, and a daughter, Sarah. And at this time, Jason was 30 and Mags was 31. And oh man, were they such a happy family. Jason doted on those kids, and his whole purpose in life now was to take care of this little family, especially his kids. November of 2006, when Sarah was just 3 months old, Mags awoke in the middle of the night having an asthma attack. She had this happen before, and she tried using the nebulizer this time, but it just didn't ease the symptoms. Jason tried getting her to the hospital, but in the end, she didn't make it. The medical term,
scary,
isn't it?
Like my mother-in-law has bad asthma, and it's just like it is really scary.
Yeah,
if you can't breathe,
I know,
you die.
Yes,
that's scary.
I know. Yeah, my sister. I've witnessed my sister having asthma attacks.
Yes, and I have too.
Like, there's nothing you can do to help them. The medical term for what happened to Mags was an acute cardiorespiratory arrest secondary to known bronchospasm.
Wow.
It's a lot. They always have to make these medical terms so much bigger.
Exactly.
But just like that, Jason lost the love of his life. He has a 2-year-old and a 3-month-old.
Oh, my Lord.
To take care of.
Can you even imagine?
Right. How do you navigate those emotions of grieving while still being the solid rock that these babies need?
You can't just lay in bed and grieve.
No.
You have to make breakfast and lunch and dinner and go to work.
Yeah.
I mean, he still had to do all those things.
Exactly. Yeah. And his family actually helped a lot. You know, it takes a village.
Right.
But it had been 2 years since Mag's death when 32-year-old Jason reached out to hire an au pair. He went through a couple of different ones that didn't really work out because of their language barrier. And he eventually found Molly Martins. She was 25 years old and from the U.S. in Knoxville, Tennessee.
All right.
And she did speak English, so there was not really any barrier there. She started the job in March of 2008. And Jason's friends and family's first impression of Molly was like, oh man, this young lady is a pretty blonde and Jason does not need this distraction in his life.
Yeah.
But the arrangement, it worked out for them. The kids liked her and they were comfortable with her. She would even go on vacation with Jason and the kids. And this is when a relationship sparked between Jason and Molly. Some say it started pretty soon after she arrived, but whatever, it happened.
Right.
The family still had reservations about Molly. She never gave a lot of information about herself or her life back in Tennessee. And they felt that she was trying to keep Jason away from his friends. You know, it's a new relationship and you just want to hog them all to yourself, maybe. I don't know.
It seems like that on the outside a lot of times in new relationships. Like,
right.
she never lets us Like when my dad says to Daniel, is Candace okay with you going out to lunch with us? And I'm like, get a life. Just because he's a hermit, that's not my fault.
But he blames you. No.
He doesn't blame me.
I know,
It's just
I'm kidding.
everybody thinks that I won't let him go anywhere. And I'm like, I encourage him to go out of the house. He
Right.
just is a hermit.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But no, it's like the new relationships. You're like, oh, I want
Right,
every
you just
minute
wanna
with
spend
you.
every minute. And it with the kids,
Yeah.
they had a family. So she's caring for
exactly.
the kids and she wants him to be around for dinner, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
So Jason had sent, at one point, he sent Molly back to the U.S. to see her family, a little break or vacation for her.
Mm-hmm.
And while she was across the pond, they emailed back and forth. And in these emails, Jason told Molly that he felt like this was all going so fast and he wasn't sure he even wanted to get married again. And Molly got mad and pretty much gave him an ultimatum. They came up with an agreement that they would continue their relationship, but when she got back to Ireland, she would move out and get a different job. So it wasn't like she was the nanny and his girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
But when she got back, that didn't happen. She continued living with them and actually pushed for Jason to move to a new house because she couldn't keep living in the house that Mags lived in.
What? That's gross.
Right?
His late wife.
Exactly. She's like, y'all shared this house and we need something different. Are you kidding me?
I understand asking to get a new bed, maybe. But
Right.
like, come on. That's the only house those children have ever known.
Right. You want to uproot them. So in 2010, Jason proposed to Molly.
Wow.
And shortly after, she convinced Jason to move to America.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And
Wow.
so they moved to the Meadowlands in North Carolina. And they married in June 4th of 2011. Jack and Sarah talk in this Netflix documentary of how much they liked America.
Oh, yeah.
The big house that they had and how friendly everyone was. It was very easy for them to make friends and feel a part of the community.
Mm-hmm.
At the wedding, Tracy, Jason's sister, found out that Molly had told her bridesmaids that she was friends with Mags before Mags died of cancer.
That is, it's giving you know who in the 6th grade.
Yeah. Don't think I didn't think about that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so she tells them that Mags made her the godmother of Jack and Sarah.
That's just weird. Like,
Yeah. No, it's very weird. So the bridesmaid, actually the maid of honor in the wedding, was expressing how sweet it was for this fairy tale love story between Jason and Molly. Like, oh, she's the godmother and she goes over there to help him take care of the kids, and then they fall in love. No. Tracy was dumbfounded. That all was a lie.
that probably made her feel sick.
Yeah.
Like, what? Who lies about something like that?
Right. The bridesmaid was shocked to hear that was not the truth.
Wow.
And I'm not sure at what point this came out, but Molly's resume was less than truthful. She said that she had graduated from Clemson, but she actually dropped out of school.
Oh.
She said that she was vetted to be a foster parent at one point.
I'm sorry, what?
But she had not actually ever been.
What?
Like, why? Oh, yeah, they said I could be a foster parent.
It's this histrionic. They love to make up their story.
Yeah.
Of how they became themselves.
And it's time and time again. And you'll see some more in a little bit. So also, Molly had a boyfriend back home in Tennessee who she did not break up with before she left to go to Ireland.
Oh.
But then 2 weeks after being in Ireland, she told this boyfriend that she wasn't coming back.
Ouch.
Yeah, this guy informed Jason's family about Molly's mental struggles that she had gone through just before she left to go to Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
And he told them that she was admitted into a psychiatric hospital at one point just before she left to Ireland. So
wow.
At one point during the wedding, Molly got irate because Jason's nephew was eating McDonald's instead of the food provided at the wedding reception. I think the nephew had like a sensory disorder is what I heard. I don't know, but whatever food was there.
Particular about what he was eating. Yeah.
So she was just an emotional wreck. I don't know if you want to call it bridezilla.
That would fall under the category, I would say.
So Molly took care of the kids for the majority of the time through the days, and she also worked as a swim instructor. Jason worked as a full-time manager at a packing plant. They were very friendly with people in their community, and they were well liked. It had been a few years into marriage, and Molly wanted to adopt the children, but Jason refused. She had asked him here and there every so often about adopting, and he just would either blow it off or say no, it wasn't going to happen.
That's weird to me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's telling on both sides.
Exactly. So by this time, the couple was fighting a lot, and family members say that Jason was considering divorcing Molly and packing up himself and the kids and moving back to Ireland. He even was hiding the kids' passport because he wasn't sure what Molly would do if she got a hold of him.
Wow.
Yeah. Molly had already been talking to an attorney to get advice on what to do to be able to get custody or what rights she would have to the kids if they got a divorce. This attorney advised her to start recording the arguments. And so she put several voice-activated recording devices around the house in several rooms.
So weird.
There are clips of these arguments played on a 48 Hours episode and in the Netflix documentary. But in one of them, Jason is yelling at Molly, and Molly's just kind of ignoring him. She's trying to talk to the kids about, as she's trying to prepare for dinner. And he's like, I'm talking to you. But in this argument, Sarah finally yells, she's like, stop fighting.
Yeah, it's so sad.
I know.
So sad.
But hearing the recorded argument, you have to ask yourself, were these arguments provoked in order to get Jason to sound like an angry person?
Oh, Lena.
Uh-huh.
You know. Oh, I'm triggered. I'm so triggered right now because I wasn't once in a relationship where my partner thought it was fun to make me look foolish in front of everyone. Always.
Yeah.
So he'd fight with me a little bit before we went to wherever we were going. And then he would like taking little jabs. And I would not tolerate it. There was a point where I just got so over it that I would blow up. And
then it does make you look like a crazy person.
It does make you look like a crazy person. But he was manipulative.
Yeah.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
Absolutely.
And so, yes, there are these people out there that manipulate the situation, provoke, say things that they know are going to get under someone's skin.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're exactly right.
And
breathe.
And breathe.
It's difficult to fathom Jason being so aggressive or violent because he was so kind and helpful with everyone around him. And some could speculate that Molly instigated the fights, just like we're talking about. Maybe especially the recorded ones.
Right. Because she knew they were being recorded.
She knew.
And she knew how to
poke,
and she knew how to sound.
Oh, yeah. Like she's the victim.
Exactly.
So all of this had come boiling to the surface, and it was about to boil over. August 1st of 2015, Molly's parents, Tom and Sharon, came to visit Molly and Jason in North Carolina. They still lived in Tennessee. They got to Molly's house about 8:30 p.m. Now, they brought gifts for Jack and Sarah. They brought Jack a baseball bat and Sarah a tennis racket. They were going to wait till the next day to give those gifts to the kids, you know, get settled in.
Right.
And then have the fun and stuff the next day.
And they could play with it all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never give a kid a new toy at night.
At night, right.
Just want to go to sleep.
Exactly.
They were smart.
Strategy.
Exactly.
So at bedtime, everyone went to their respective bedroom to get a good night's sleep. And about 3 a.m., Sarah went to her parents' room and told them that she had a bad dream. Molly took Sarah back to her bedroom on the second floor and gave her some comfort and settled her back in bed. When Molly got back to hers and Jason's room on the first floor, Jason was awake and angry about being woken up. He had already been drunk from drinking all day, and this set him in a rage. They started arguing, and Tom, who was staying in the basement with Sharon, his wife, heard strange noises coming from up the stairs. He explained that it sounded like arguing and thumping. He was so bothered by these sounds that he had to go check it out. Tom is an ex-FBI agent, so maybe his protective instinct was at work. He grabbed the baseball bat that he brought for Jack, and he went upstairs. He walked into Jason and Molly's bedroom and saw that Jason had his hands around Molly's neck. When Jason turned and saw Tom standing there with a bat, he put Molly in a chokehold and drug her into the bathroom while saying that he was going to kill her. Tom begged Jason to let her go, but then made the decision to put the bat to use. He hit Jason over and over until he let go of Molly. Jason then grabbed the bat, and the two of them had kind of a tug of war with the bat. Jason pushed Tom to the ground, and now Jason has the bat in his hands. Molly's yelling, "Don't hurt my dad." Then she picked up a brick cinder block and struck Jason with it. A brick, you ask?
In the bedroom? I thought that was weird too.
Yeah. It's like one of those that you can line it.
It's like a landscape paver.
Yeah, you can line it around like a flower bed or something. Yeah. It was sitting on her bedside table.
As it would be.
Right? As most people have.
I have a paver on my bedside table. I mean...
she continues to hit Jason with this brick as Tom gains control over the bat, and they took turns beating Jason. Bat, brick, until Jason was no longer able to fight back.
Right.
Tom made the emergency call. He told the dispatcher, "My daughter's husband, my son-in-law, got into a fight with my daughter. I intervened, and I think he's in bad shape. We need help. He's bleeding all over, and I may have killed him."
Yikes.
And the dispatcher's like, "Was he breathing?" And he's like, "I can't tell."
Yeah.
So now this was all the story that Molly and Tom gave to the detectives. It was self-defense. First responders, though, were shooketh at the scene. What they saw looked like overkill.
Yeah.
One of the paramedics said that Jason had been so badly beaten that when he went to assess Jason's head, he could see and touch his brain matter. Sorry to be so gruesome.
That's just...
And there was blood everywhere on the floor, on the walls, on the bed.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
If you look at the crime scene photos, he's removed from the scene, of course, and there's just blood everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everywhere.
On the back of the door, on the walls, everywhere. Yeah.
Mm.
The detective who was called to the scene, Lieutenant Wanda Thompson, said that it was one of the bloodiest crime scenes that she had seen in a long time.
That's when people say that, don't you just like catch your breath?
Right.
It just,
I mean, I feel like all death would be gruesome, but for them to remark that
this is like one of the
worst.
Bloodiest.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Jason's body was naked when paramedics arrived, and the blood that could be seen in the room, even on the brick, was already starting to dry. One paramedic questioned, when did they say he went down? Because his body was already cool to the touch.
Jeez.
So how long did they wait to call 911?
That's the question. They called at what, 3 you said?
3 a.m. was when
she says that the fight.
When Sarah
woke her up.
Yeah, Sarah woke up from the dream, and then everything went down from there. I don't know what time the 911 call was.
Shouldn't have been too far behind that, right?
So Molly was taken to wait in the police car, and a police officer commented on how Molly was making crying noises, but there was no tears. They took pictures of her. She did have blood on her face, and she was rubbing her neck and throat, telling police that she was hurting because Jason choked her because he was angry that he had been woken up. Tom was assessed as well, and he didn't have any marks on him. Neither one of them could even give an answer when they were asked, how many times did you hit Jason? They both said, I don't know. They were in separate interview rooms, but their stories were similar.
They were similar, but also kind of different.
Right.
Yeah. I was like, huh.
Right. There were some differences, but most of it,
the crux of it was the same. Yeah.
Lieutenant Thompson remarked that these two were just in a fight for their lives. Jason has horrific injuries, and they don't appear to have any.
Yeah, he's got this He-Man strength, and he's taking on two people.
Exactly.
Neither one of which have any sort of scrape, bruise, red mark.
Right. Interesting. Molly's mother was also questioned. She had the same story, that her and Tom had been awoken to noises from a ruckus upstairs. Tom got up to check it out, and she rolled over and went back to sleep. Detectives couldn't believe that she didn't wake up when the beating ensued.
Right. Or go up to check on everyone, or call the police when she heard screaming and gnashing of teeth. And yeah.
Molly told detectives that Jason had abused her for years, but she never told anyone because she didn't want to lose custody of the kids. Likely story. Detectives, however, never found any evidence of this except for the video clips that Molly recorded of him when he was angry and yelling. Tom also told detectives that, this makes me so mad. He told detectives that Jason's first wife died of mysterious circumstances. The audacity.
Wow.
Not only that, but he told them that Jason was a MMA fighter and a boxer. Well, like you just said a while ago, he's supposed to have this He-Man strength.
Right.
They're portraying him to be this aggressive man who's a boxer and an MMA fighter.
Right. And I think like this is in no way trying to be rude, but like anyone who saw Jason would know that that's not the case.
Right.
So
he didn't have the physique.
He didn't have the physique of a MMA fighter.
Right. Exactly. So when Molly was asked about what family do we need to notify, she told them that she was scared of Jason's family because they would take the kids away.
Well, Yeah.
And when she said that, the detective was like, that's a very real possibility. Tracy, Jason's sister, she actually wrote a book called My Brother Jason. She talks about how the two of them weren't just brother and sister, but they were best friends.
Aww.
So if you want to know more about her perspective, you should probably read it. I didn't, but I bet it's a good read. But Tracy talks in an interview about how her family got the call about Jason being dead. They were told that he and Molly had an argument and Molly pushed him and he hit his head and died. Just so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she would later find out the more extensive story.
As if they weren't going to learn those details anyways.
And maybe they just were trying to dumb it down because they were so far away and didn't want to worry them even. I mean, that is worrisome, but to tell them such a grave circumstance and then they have to fly all those hours over here. So in Tracy's mind, Jason was about to leave and take the kids back to Ireland. She does not accept the self-defense story at all, of course. She speculated that Molly just could not let Jason take the kids. She had to do something to stop him. Tracy immediately came to the U.S. and talked to detectives and expressed her concerns. She would also tell them that Jason was not a boxer or an MMA fighter. She's like, are you kidding me? Tracy's concerns confirmed for the detectives their suspicions that they already had about Molly and Tom.
Right.
The autopsy confirmed that Jason died of blunt force trauma to the head. He had multiple lacerations, abrasions, contusions, extensive skull fractures, hemorrhages. They couldn't even determine how many times Jason had been struck because the wounds overlapped each other.
That's so gruesome.
Most of the blows were in the back of the head. But Tom is saying he was in front of Jason when he was hitting him with the bat. You can't be in front of someone and the bat
hit the back of their head.
It doesn't just swing around and hit them in the back. It didn't add up. Oh, and the toxicology report, would you be surprised if I told you that Jason's blood alcohol level was 0.02%?
Say what?
Percent.
Okay.
Yeah. He was not drunk. But he did have trazodone in his system.
Oh.
How?
Was he prescribed trazodone?
Oh, funny you should ask. No, he was not. Do you know who was?
I'm just going to go out on a limb. Was it Molly?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Molly was the one prescribed trazodone just a few days before the incident.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that.
Now, she may have already been on it. I don't know. But apparently, I don't know if this was a new prescription. She had just got it a few days before all of this.
Interesting.
Jason had consulted a doctor just a few days before he was killed. He was seeking medical attention or help. He had told the doctor that he had recently been feeling angry for no reason.
Interesting.
And so Jason's family speculates that Molly had been spiking his drinks with medication. So just like you were talking about earlier, how like you weren't going to tolerate it and you finally just blew up. And I feel like this is him. Like he feels crazy because he's being...
Exactly.
He's being...
You start to question your own sanity and be like, am I the problem?
Right. So the manipulation and then maybe even the medication on top of it. So surely Molly and Tom were banking on the idea that Jason's family would not get involved from all the way in Ireland.
As if.
Yeah. But Tracy packed her bags immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And she got on the next flight to America to make sure an autopsy was done and get the truth.
Can you imagine?
I know.
She's amazing.
She really is.
Can you imagine if she hadn't done that?
I know. I'd like to think I'd do that for my family.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, she dropped everything and she was going to get the truth and she was going to take care of Jack and Sarah. Jack and Sarah were brought in for questioning with a social worker just a couple of days after the incident. They were brought in. So both of them say that they did see their dad get angry a lot and they saw him hit their mom once or twice, mom being Molly at this point. So Jack specifically says, my dad physically and verbally hurt my mom. And I think he was, 10 years old when this happened. So it's interesting for a child to use that kind of language.
Yeah.
And the detectives' heads turned when they heard him say that. They're like, that's kind of odd for a child to say.
You know, at first, because Hazel says,
okay, yeah.
you know, she's 5, almost 6, and she'll say big words or things that you're like, where did you hear that? But what was telling for me was that he repeated it in the same way. He said, my dad was physically and verbally abusive to... My dad was physically and like he was trying to get it right.
Yes, exactly. Good point. What's so eerie is that Jack gave the exact story that Molly and Tom gave. He wasn't in the room when it happened, but he gave step by step.
Right. And if you're going to dumb it down for his family, you would certainly leave out all the details for the children. Right. You would never go into detail.
Right. But he says, Sarah has had a nightmare specifically about bugs crawling all over her. He tells them Tom grabbed the bat and went upstairs when he heard something. And then he says, my dad grabbed the bat from Tom. And then he's talking about Molly hitting Jason in the head with the stone cinder block. What? He wasn't in the room. How did he know all of this?
Right.
Jack confirmed Molly's story about the brick, why it would just be sitting on the bedside table. According to Molly and Jack, they were going to be using this brick to paint a picture on it, you know, something fun to do and put in the little garden area. It was brought inside because it had been raining outside and they didn't want it wet.
Yeah.
Why not just put it by the door?
Or in the garage.
In the garage? Yeah. No, she took it
up to her bedroom.
Put it on the bedside table.
Yeah, totally.
Still strange to me. So when Jack was asked how he knew Sarah had a nightmare, he said his mom told him. Sarah and Jack were asked, how did you know this? Or who told you that? And their answers, my mom told me. Of course, they knew it was a big possibility that the kids had been coached into what to say.
Right.
Molly filed papers in effort to gain custody of Jack and Sarah. She told authorities that Tracy had attempted to kidnap them, and Molly was awarded temporary custody. When Tracy and her husband went to the funeral home to view Jason's body, the funeral director, he's like, I'm sorry, I can't let you see him. I've been informed not to let y'all see him. Disgusting.
Oh, man. And that's when you know that's worse than actually being able to see your loved one, because your mind will only go to the deepest, darkest places.
Absolutely.
As to why you can't view. Yeah.
True. Oh. So when the autopsy results came in, this changed the direction of the case. The prosecutor says in the Netflix interview, the episode is called A Deadly American Marriage. The prosecutor says there were so many blows to the head that the pathologist could not even count them. I know I said that earlier, but getting into his interview. And he says a chunk of Jason's skull had fallen out onto the exam table.
Ugh.
I'm really not trying to be gruesome, but it's just,
like, this is what he
shows you
suffered.
how much force
That is it.
went
The
into
brutality and the force. I mean, it takes a lot to crack a skull.
it. Yeah. So the autopsy picture, he says, the prosecutor says, the autopsy pictures were the most horrific he had ever seen.
Mm.
As if that weren't enough to suspect cold-blooded murder, detectives start hearing bizarre stories about Molly's behavior.
God.
Not just the lies that Jason's family had found out about around the wedding time, but a neighbor said that Molly joined their book club. Was this in the documentary?
Yeah, it was. Oh my gosh.
So she joins a book club in the community, and
Oh, I forgot about this.
one of the other ladies, she comes into the book club one day and she announces that she's pregnant. And Molly's response is to start telling everybody
Talking about herself.
this. Yeah. Oh, me. She's telling them this elaborate story about giving birth to Sarah.
That is so weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
And didn't people, like, she had friends in that book club and they knew
Yes.
that Sarah was not her biological
there were
daughter.
people in the room that knew this was a total lie. She had also told other people that she had a sister who had died of cancer, which was absolutely not true. This just all takes away Molly's credibility.
Jeez.
Also, detectives found another hole in Tom's story. He said he and Sharon didn't really have anything going on that weekend, that they just spontaneously wanted to make the 4-hour drive to Molly and to see Molly and the kids. However, people who knew Tom and Sharon said that the two of them did have plans with Tom's boss that evening on August 1st, and Tom abruptly canceled those plans. So ultimately, Tracy and her husband gained custody of the kids and was able to take them back to Ireland.
Oof.
Tracy was finally able to see her brother's body before she left. And Molly, she actually wanted Jason's body cremated as soon as possible.
I bet she did.
But Tracy advocated for his body to be brought back to Ireland. And Molly finally agreed, but only as long as Tracy paid for all of the funeral costs.
Okay.
And yeah, Tracy's like, yeah, okay, no problem.
She's like, well, I'm not paying to like bury him over there.
Ugh.
I'm
And
not paying for his flight. What a heartless cow.
Heartless. That's the word. Yeah. So yeah, Tracy's like, no problem. I'm taking him. And Jason was buried with Mags.
Oh, as
the
it should
love
be.
of his life. Yes. So December 18th of 2015, Molly and Tom were indicted for second-degree murder. They both pled not guilty, still claiming self-defense. Jack and Sarah, once away from Molly for so long, and their perspectives changed, they ended up changing their story. They said that Molly had coerced them to say the things that they told the social worker right after their dad's death. They were in this terrible, sad situation where they had lost both of their biological parents, and so they both lied at the time so that they wouldn't lose another person who they looked to as a parent. The kids' statements were not admissible in court. So Molly and Tom's joint jury trial wouldn't be until July of 2017. A blood stain pattern analyst testified that the blood stains did not match the trajectory of the story that Molly and Tom gave. Their story was that Jason was standing up when they were hitting him. It was obvious to this analyst that Jason was on the ground and defenseless as the two of them were beating him. Motive was suggested by the prosecution that Molly wanted Jason out of the picture so that she could have the kids as her own and so that she could claim the $600,000 life insurance policy. After 3 hours of deliberation, the jury's verdict was guilty.
Guilty.
The horrific crime scene photos played a big part in the jury's decision, as well as the fact that Molly, they realized she could have gotten out of the situation, but she chose to stay so that she could take the kids.
Yeah.
Molly and Tom were sentenced to 20 to 25 years in prison, but it doesn't stop there. Molly and Tom hired new attorneys, and they were good.
They were good.
They argued about the kids' statements not being allowed in trial, just like the prosecution argues that the kids were coerced by Molly. The defense is now arguing that the kids were coerced by Jason's family.
Exactly.
There were several appeals filed, and after serving 3.5 years, their convictions were overturned and they would go to retrial. Molly and Tom's attorneys lay out a story stating that... So stupid. Oh, it makes me so mad. They say that Mags did not die of an asthma attack, but that it was due to being strangled by Jason. They went so far as to get Mag's autopsy report, and they spun it.
And didn't they lie saying Mags's dad even thought so?
Yes.
They've just blatantly flat out lied about that.
That was my next point, is they announced that Tom had talked to Michael, Mag's father, and Michael said that he thinks Jason killed Mags. Come again.
Like when?
Yeah.
When?
When was this conversation?
Right. I mean, just logically think about it.
Yeah.
When did the new wife's dad talk to the dead wife's dad?
Okay, so let me get into that just for a minute. So Mag's sister, Catherine, combats that theory, and she didn't get a chance to speak at the trial. She wished she did.
Yeah.
But she said that her dad never said that Jason killed her.
They loved him.
They loved him. Jason was like a son to Michael. And just before Michael died of cancer, he put out a statement claiming that he never said that. He had met Tom one time at Molly's wedding. He loved Jason so much and wanted him to be so happy that he supported his second marriage.
That's love.
And
that's
so
unconditional love.
Yeah, and he went to this wedding. And so that's where, yes, Michael and Tom did meet. But Tom says they never had a conversation about Mags.
Jeez. I love that he was like, okay, I'm going to die in a minute. But before that, I'm going to write the statement.
Yeah.
But I want it to be known.
Yeah. It was a signed,
Jeez.
It was a signed statement that was given to, I don't know who.
It was like an official, like notarized or whatever.
Absolutely. So Catherine also states that she was in the house with Jason the night that Mags died.
Right.
And Jason was doing everything that he could to save her. And as she was struggling to breathe, and she even had the inhaler in her hand, and it wasn't working. November of 2023, Jack and Sarah got to talk to the court and give victim impact statements. And Molly had to sit there and listen.
Wow.
They talked about what a great dad that Jason was. Molly and Tom were eventually resentenced to 51 to 74 months in prison. Months. Which is like what?
That is a slap in the face.
What is that? 5 to 7 years or something like that?
I don't know. I'm not a mathematician.
Me neither. The time that they had already served previously went towards this sentence.
Of course.
So this time they had only had to serve like a few months to finish out the remainder of what they were just given. So they were released from prison in June of 2024. Yeah, I'm rolling my eyes. Jason and Mags, let's get back to them. They had 2 beautiful children. I mean, how gorgeous were they
so
in that
gorgeous.
documentary?
That beautiful Irish skin and those eyes and yes.
Both of them, just
all of it.
good looking. Jack and Sarah, teenagers now, gave interviews on Netflix, that documentary. If you want to hear more details and their side of and the truth about their dad, which is all they're wanting to do is give the truth about their dad, you really should go watch it. Molly gives her side of the story, and it's just really difficult to listen to her and believe her with all of the absurd lies that she's already made up.
Lena, when she was talking, I was like, how much did they pay her for this? Because I can't imagine any benefit.
I don't think they had to pay her. I think she just wanted to go on there and make Jason look terrible.
Yeah, you're probably right.
She probably had to pay them to get on there.
She probably begged.
Yeah, and so she continues to spread disgusting lies about Jason, and he isn't even here to defend himself. Like, leave him alone.
Yeah.
Jack makes a comment about how the people who killed his dad get to live free and hug their moms and dads, but he and Sarah have to go to a patch of grass to visit theirs.
That was so heartbreaking.
Oh, yeah. So my heart goes out to Jack and Sarah, and I pray that they find peace.
Oh, gosh. I remember when this case was going on, and I remember that 48 Hours episode. And in the 48 Hours episode, they really make it look like he was abusive.
Right. Yes.
And so I was like, geez, can you imagine? Like, thank God her dad was there. And the media painted it like that, which the media loves to crucify people.
Oh, yeah,
so it's very surprising that they went that direction. But yeah, I always thought that she was like wrongfully convicted or that I never knew much about the case. But learning about him, I didn't know he was from Ireland. I didn't know, that the children weren't hers. I didn't know any of that stuff. And it was just, and her dad said, my daughter's not a liar.
Right.
Your daughter is only a liar.
And she's been proven to be a liar.
The fact that you are saying that shows a lot about your character.
Right. I mean, I know she's your daughter and you're going to support her, whatever.
But don't say she's a liar when she's proven to be such. Like...
I could not watch them on there and
he could have said nothing.
Nothing.
He could have said nothing, but he said, my daughter's not a liar.
I mean... You could have said, I'm sorry this happened. Like, we didn't mean for this to happen. Like,
but he said he had no regrets.
No, he says he has no regrets because he was defending his daughter. Okay.
She had built that narrative over time. And absolutely. She had been building that narrative. She'd been telling her parents. And something you didn't mention that I thought about was the fact that Molly's mom gave them gifts and wrote her phone number on it.
Yes.
Like, if you ever need anything, if you're scared, call this number.
Yeah.
But that was just goes to show how much Molly had built this narrative that the kids weren't allowed anybody's phone number.
That they weren't safe.
Right. And they weren't safe and that they were in danger.
Yeah. But also Jack and Sarah, they talk about how they realized, looking back, they realized how manipulative Molly was, because there were times where Jack would be in his bedroom and he had a picture of his mom on his bedside table, and she came in there and took it away and put a picture of her and him.
That is so unforgivable. I have nothing more to say about that, because
Yeah.
What?
That is nasty.
That is for a child.
Yeah.
Acting like a child has done something wrong because he's got a picture with his mother in his room.
Right. And he talked about how he would get in trouble, but she would dote on Sarah and they would go do things all the time. And
didn't you think Jack looked just like Mags?
yes.
He looked so much like his mom.
Yeah,
Oh.
he does.
Oh, bless it.
They're just, as soon as I saw them on the documentary, I was like, wow, those kids are gorgeous.
So Irish. I love that, just, that heritage coming through.
Yeah.
I love it. Wow. Yeah, I thank you for telling that story. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that Netflix came out with that documentary and that we can share on our platform another side to the story, because you're right. Jason cannot defend himself. Maybe he wasn't perfect. Maybe he did blow up, but
I'm sure he did.
Maybe he was fed up.
Yeah.
And he did tell his sister that he was done.
Yeah. He was planning to come back to Ireland.
Yeah. He was not in any way, shape, or form trying to save that marriage. So he probably said and did things that he was like, I'm done with you. Yeah. So you're nothing to me anymore.
Yeah. And he wanted out and she couldn't handle it.
And she did all of that so she wouldn't lose the kids. And look at her now.
Like,
she lost the kids and they hate her.
They do. And that's another thing that her dad said in the documentary, like, how could they hate Molly? She took care of them, and I'm like, but she took their father away.
You can't say that.
How could?
Yeah. I mean, that's like,
please. I'm sorry. I'm a little.
I know it. No, it is. It's like, but look what good she did for you before she killed your dad.
Yeah. No.
Sorry, did you just hear that sentence?
Yeah. And no, I don't want them to have hate in their heart. They shouldn't have hate in their heart. I hope, like I said, I pray that they find peace and can forgive her, because, I mean, we don't need to hold on to unforgiveness. But
you know what is amazing about it is the distance.
Yes.
The fact that they're not ever going to run into her at the grocery store.
Right.
They're never going to, invite their friends to dinner and somehow she comes along, or attend a party and she's there. Like, they live in another world, another time, another place.
Right.
And it's so far away. And
she was ordered
she can't contact them.
Right.
Yeah. I think that they have been given the space, thankfully, to heal. And their parents now are Jason's sister and her husband, and they've been excellent parents for them. And they've got cousins that are their brothers and sister, and
it's a beautiful.
It is.
It's something beautiful that just came out of something so terrible.
Yeah, you can see that they look truly happy with their family, and they look truly happy with their new family. And just, it's really sad. All of it is so sad.
Yeah.
And if Molly wasn't such a liar, then maybe we would believe her about some of the stuff.
Right.
But her credibility is shot.
And I know we've been talking about this for a long time now, but I just can't get over the fact that she inserted herself into their lives only to try to take those kids. And then she takes Jason's life. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah. Ugh. Well, the best to you, Molly.
Mm-hmm.
And really the best to those kids.
Yeah.
And Jason's family. Rest in peace, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's just up in the clouds, MMA fighting with Jesus, working on his kickboxing and
Right.
I'm sure. Well, that was great. Let's do it again sometime.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you for listening to Cousins on Crime. Get connected with us by becoming a free member on our Patreon. Or for just $5 a month, you'll have access to bonus episodes, discussion groups, and much more. If you can't afford $5 a month, we get it. Inflation, am I right? Please consider leaving us a positive review and rating wherever you listen.
And don't forget merch. Support our podcast and show the love by sporting t-shirts with our latest designs, or grab an evidence bag to keep the chain of custody for all your valuables. Don't forget to follow our show on your favorite streaming app so you never miss an episode, and get photos and updates on our Instagram at Cousins on Crime Podcast or our Cousins on Crime Facebook page. Have a case suggestion? Email us at cousinsoncrime@gmail.com.